By using filters, you can format data, order it, and do much more. So in this demonstration, I'm going to show you a few examples of how we can apply filters into an application. So you can see that I have up top here a customer's property that's been initialized through ng init. And I've added a couple properties, a join date, and this is a very specific date format actually. We have a name, a city, and an order total. And you can see that this particular one has a kind of interesting value there. And so if I run this, you'll see that it just kind of spits out the data just directly, doesn't format it, doesn't sort it. So our names are out of order. You can see that our cities are out of order. Really nothing's in order there. And our dates aren't formatted very nicely. They're not specific to a region. The order total also doesn't take into account currencies. So there's a lot we could do to fix this up. Well, fortunately, with AngularJS, we can do that. Plus we can do filters and sorts and all kinds of things here. So first things first, let's do something pretty basic. And let's come on down to the order total here where we write it out. And I'm going to do the pipe character as discussed earlier and just type currency. Now what that will do is automatically format it as a local currency or your regional currency. So for me it would be US dollars since I'm in the US right now and that's how my browser is set up. Let's go ahead and save that, and if we run it just by adding that simple pipe statement, you'll see that our data is now formatted for the order total. Now notice that the $10, and that's the reason I kind of threw an interesting type of currency value here for the decimal in, notice that it automatically round up to 10. And we would expect that, of course, because that's how it should work in the first place. So that's an example of currency. Now, if for whatever reason I had a tweak I wanted to put on front of it, then I could actually add a colon and then in quotes put a value. So let's just say for whatever reason that I maybe invented a new currency that starts with Y. Well, if we go ahead and save this and run it, you'll see that this will now replace your local currency, such as dollars or pounds or whatever, with the Y. So you can actually take over control, and there's even some different formatting you can do here. So that provides a nice option when you need a little more flexibility. Now the next one that's pretty easy to show is our cust joined, and it doesn't really show a very nice date there. So we can actually come in and tweak this, and we can do some piping as well. So let's come on in and we'll add our pipe. And now I'm just going to type date. This is another filter that's built into Angular. Go ahead and save that and run it, and let's see what we get. And then I'll show you that we can format this if you'd like to customize it. Okay, so now you can notice it did change it. Now that may not be what you wanted though, as you write out your date. So just like with the currency, if you put a colon, and then in quotes, give it a custom format code, you can format it however you'd like. So for instance, if I just did 4 Ys, then if we save it and run it, you'll see we'll get the expected output here for our date. And you'll see we just get the year. You could do 2 M's if you want to do a month. So if we want a year followed by maybe a 2-digit month, we could do MM. And then you can even come in and do days as well, and we could do like DD. So if we go ahead and save that, we'll now have the year, month, date, which would be pretty close to what I had anyway. But we could certainly reverse those around. And there we go. So it's really nice because you can customize it. And if you just want a really simple format code, they have different ones you can put like medium. You can do short or long date or full date. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can also work with times as well, which I don't have here. But if we do a medium, for instance, then we'll get this type of output, but you'll notice it's actually putting in the time, and because I didn't give one, it's putting midnight in this situation. So that's where a format code comes in handy, but what I can do to fix that is we could say something like long date if we want the full date written out. And now when we run it, you'll see it'll be the full spelling out of our month, and it looks pretty nice there if that's what you wanted. So you can do everything from format codes to others as you work with this. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll just go back to date on this to keep it kind of simple. Next thing we can do is another string type of formatter or filter, and we could do something like uppercase. And if we save and run this, you'll do exactly like you'd expect. If you work with a language where you say 2 uppercase or 2 lowercase, it's very similar to that. And you'll notice that our name here is now all uppercase, and of course that's what we'd expect. Or we could do lowercase. So you kind of have different options there. So we could come onto this one and maybe do lowercase. All right, and you can see we now have lowercase. Now that probably isn't what you'd want in a real app, but at least this will give you an idea of how this actual process works. So that's an example of using some of the more primitive filters to actually apply some formatting to the data. And as you saw, you can even customize how that data is written out.